SMT Nation, we back. Nation, bad news to report. I just want to give it to you guys straight up. It sucks. There's probably going to be some people impacted by this. It's not the end of the world. It's not like extremely bad, but it's bad enough to where it's probably going to impact some capacity on the AT&T network. Let me give you guys kind of a brief synopsis as to what's going on and then what AT&T is going to be doing with respect to their solutions. All right, so for starters, I'll go ahead and link this PDF for you. This is actually white paper research and mitigation strategy paper from Intelsat, who is the company involved in this whole situation with AT&T. They're going to work with them to try to work through this potential issue and interference with C-band 5G, a big piece of AT&T's 5G Plus network. AT&T has, what do they have? About 180 megahertz of C-band 3700 frequency. They have 40 megahertz of the DoD, which is in the 3450 frequency. It's not the DoD that's the problem, it's the C-band. There appears to be some risk of interference. I guess it's happening. It's impacting television stations on the borders of the country. All right, so I think it's Mexican borders, and I think potentially some risk on the Canada side as well. Okay, so what's going to happen here? What's AT&T going to do? This is a big piece of their 5G network. Well, I read through some of this, and it looks like they are going to be working through some of the interference. Now, as of right now, all I can really tell you is that AT&T has completely disabled the C-band on sites that are kind of impacted by these television operations that are using these satellite signals. These frequencies are so close and adjacent that there is indeed interference, and it's impacting, the operations between these two different organizations, being AT&T and then the television. So AT&T had to disable the 3700 frequency. That's 80 megahertz of C-band. The goal is to, at some point, get the C-band back up after proper mitigation. I think that mitigation is basically going to boil down to potentially working through some of the bandwidth settings. So I'll show you guys kind of what I found in this white paper that might be kind of giving us some ideas what's going on here. All right, so Intelsat's going to probably have to come up with some kind of a solution with AT&T that I think is going to involve AT&T downgrading, I guess, the bandwidth allotment, which I think also is going to turn on the power. Right, so the C-band that are currently on those sites on the borders, it's off now. It'll probably come back on in short order here. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but it's not going to come back at full force with 80 megahertz of bandwidth. It's probably going to come back on with 40 megahertz of bandwidth. Obviously, that's a huge reduction in bandwidth and capacity. The DoD will stay operational. So what I think is going to start happening, guys, if you haven't seen it already, anticipate that AT&T is going to accelerate the DoD build out. Right, the fact that it's going to be a separate antenna and radio for that frequency. And I know a lot of people were saying, AT&T is going to try to do single climbs and try to do everything at once, and they should wait for a single antenna radio solution for the entire 3700 3450 portfolio. It appears actually that would be bad in this case, right? Having separate would be good, right? You would have in fact, some of the sites that you guys might be seeing getting upgraded this year and next year are probably going to avoid this completely until, I don't know if it's going to require filters. I don't know if it's going to require further mitigation, what's going to be done here, but they're working on it. And it looks like they have temporary solutions in place that should be happening very soon. So it sucks. You know what I mean? It does. We had problems with radio altimeters and the FAA with planes and stuff like that. Now we got this. The nice thing about this, though, is you're still going to end up with at least 40 megahertz of the C-band at some point, a downgrade from the 80 megahertz. I'm not sure what else they can work through with respect to filters potentially for the satellite operators, but this definitely sucks. There are probably some sites on the AT&T network that are cooking with gas and super fast, and this will bump down the speed just a little bit. Again, it can kind of be offset with the DoD where they have 40 megahertz of bandwidth there, plus the 40 of the C-band gives them 80 megahertz, right? It gives them something, and that's probably good enough to carry the network in 99.9% of cases until they get this thing figured out. But like I said, I found these white papers here describing that they knew that this was risk, and if it was going to happen, they had mitigation techniques, strategies, and solutions to the problem. And it's something I'm monitoring. I'll keep you guys posted. Stay tuned as we get more kind of updates on this and I track it. And we'll see what AT&T does in response to this. Are they going to start doing more CRAN? Are they going to start, accelerating DoD installments and deployments? That I think they're going to have to come up with some solutions, at least in the short term, if not for the long term. But tell me what you guys think of this and share with me if you're on a border city, between, a United States city, right, in the southwest, border cities. Let me know if you've been seeing some DoD C-band stuff, built. Have you been seeing C-band getting turned off? You seen speed slowing down? Have you seen interference issues with respect to anything like TV? I'm curious. I didn't know that this was a possibility at this time. I thought everything had been worked out, but it looks like this is just another thing that AT&T is going to have to work through. I have not heard anything about Verizon. I think definitely the fact that Verizon has, lower frequency blocks may be the difference maker here, and that's what AT&T is going through. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comment section below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.